Hello there, a very good Thursday evening to all of you. This is Primetime News. We are coming to you live and direct this evening from the Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Joel Outskun. We start off today with a look at the headlines.
Group clad in black stage protest opposite media institutions. UPFA, JVP and the UNP condemn the protests. Prime Minister explains how foreign loans are obtained. Dudley Sirisena says he will put politicians on the right path. A police sergeant imprisoned for 4 years after obtaining a bribe of Rs 5,000.
A very good evening to you. We are joining you to bring you a special report. Good evening to you, Faraz.
Very good evening to you.
Today, this afternoon, a group clad in black, wearing black masks, wearing sunglasses to cover their eyes, arrived at the MTV-MBC head office complex where Newsfirst is also situated, here in Braybrook Street, Colombo 2. They came in protest and they wanted to hand over a document to us which we are in right to not accept. When this happened, there was an incident that transpired. We saw people pointing, raising their hands, pointing fingers, threatening the media institutions. They also went to several other media institutions as well. Now for us, from time to time, we have heard various politicians calling various names to the media.
That's right.
One such important name that has been mentioned in the past few days is the term black media.
That's right.
You remember who actually said it first in the parliament for us?
Well, yes, it's none other than the person who's now been Prime Minister of this country 5 times, Ranil Wickremesinghe, of course.
Absolutely. And thereafter, we also heard the same term, black media, the media of this country being referred to as the black media by JVP MP Bimal Ratnayak as well. Let's first have a listen to what both of them said in Parliament.
I think MP Vijay Muni Soisa is very fortunate. Do you think he will be able to collect 100 million by suing all media institutions? What if 10 million is received from each media institution? There are 3 or 4 of them. This is what you call black media. I believe we have proposed today that a debate be held in January regarding the black media, and we must name all of them from top to bottom.
We communicated this matter to the public continuously. We asked them to stop the exploitation of people. However, the relevant ministries did not take any action regarding this matter. There is a chain of black media institutions in our country. These institutions are instigating communalism and tribalism. On the other hand, they are depriving the people of their right to know.
For us, first the Prime Minister, then as you mentioned, the Prime Minister first and then Bimal Ratnayak second, referring to the media of this country who have been reporting the truth about the corruption, about the thievery, about everything that has been happening to the people, being referred to as the black media. Now, this happened in Parliament. 2 people, the Prime Minister of a country and a JVP parliamentarian, referred to the media as the black media. What happened today? As I mentioned earlier, people clad in black arrived at our head office, where Newsfirst is also located in Union Place, Braybrook Street, and this is what happened this afternoon. Have a look.
The purported demonstrators arrived in front of the head office of the MTV-MBC network at about noon today. The banner used by the protesters included the names of the following organizations: Women of Sri Lanka, New Wings, Aluth Parapura, Voice of the Wind, Shining Heart, Butterflies for Democracy, Professional Web Journalists Association, Sadhu Janarava, Film Directors Association, Rise Up Sri Lanka, Collective of Families of Disappeared Persons, Lawyers for Democracy, and Equal Ground or Sama Bima. The group attempted to force our employees to accept a letter they had brought with them, failing which they used threats.
Maharaja Madhya dene thiyena ඊනියා පාර කියන විදිය මේ මහරජා මාධ්‍ය කරන්නේ අවම ආචාර ධර්මවත් නැහැ ජනතාවට බොරු කියනවා ජනතාවගේ ලාභය උපයනවා මුළු මනින්ම කුමන්ත්‍රණ කරනවා.
The individual who leveled the threat has been identified as Vidarshana Kannangara. Subsequently, the masked group took their demonstration to the head office of Ceylon Newspapers, the publisher of the Ceylon Today and Maubima newspapers. The employees of Ceylon newspapers greeted the masked group with a counter-demonstration. Whilst the group pontificated on media freedom, this was the manner in which one of them, Manohari Hewawasam, spoke to a photojournalist covering the demonstration. The masked group dispersed amidst the jeers of Ceylon newspapers' employees. This masked group had also staged purported demonstrations opposite the offices of several other media organizations today.
Faraz, now these people came to our head office premises earlier this afternoon, claiming that they are for democracy, claiming that they want unethical media practices to be stopped or curtailed, and they came in saying that they are here against the black media.
But Chaturanga, who are these people? They seem to be pretty well dressed. They're wearing nice sunglasses to further hide their identity. They're wearing black sort of masks. They've got cameras. They seem to have been rather pretty well organized.
Absolutely, Faraz. Now, another important point is these people who came here claiming media freedom, media democracy, curtailment to unethical media practices. You saw how one of the demonstrators or protesters addressed one of our print media colleagues from Ceylon Today or the Maubima newspaper, how there was a verbal argument between the two and how their reaction was towards that incident. These are the people who are claiming that they want unethical media operations or unethical media practices to be stopped.
Now, these people were pointing fingers and being rather intimidatory in nature. But I wonder where these people were and where their fingers were pointing when the greatest financial scam ever perpetrated on this republic and on its people of the republic were. Where were they when the bond scam was happening? Where were they when the Central Expressway highway scam was in the making? Where were they when these elections that are due at the provincial councils were not being held? Where were they? Why are they and who are they acting for? Remember that when Ranil Wickremesinghe mentioned the black media in Parliament, he also said that details will come out, all the names will come out in January. And you know, Chaturanga, we're in January. And today, we all saw what happened. So it suggests to me that these people are somehow being the political lackeys and the stooges of politicians who want to hang on to power when in fact they have no people's mandate to be and hold on to power.
Faraz, you raised a very important question. During our breaking news broadcast during the afternoon when the incident transpired, we mentioned to our viewers that we will bring the details of those who are involved in this demonstration opposite our media network, and they also travel to other media networks around Colombo as well. We now have those details. These are the people who are protesting in front of the media institutions this afternoon. For us, we also see an activist of the JVP youth here among the crowd as well. Now, when this actually happened this afternoon, matters were discussed about this at the Parliament as well. Several politicians in the Parliament who were at the parliamentary sessions when this incident was transpiring here in Colombo spoke about it during the parliamentary sessions today. Let's have a listen to that as well.
At this time, a mass group attired in black has gone to several media institutions, including Sirasa TV channel, and are attempting to exert pressure on these media organizations. These people took the Sankan government back, claiming that it was to protect democracy in the country. They lambasted the media, labeling them the black media. It has now extended to violence.
Honourable Member in the Chair, we will not tolerate any intimidation or violence against any media institutions, no matter who does it. We are against it and a proper investigation must be carried out.
A group of UNP loyalists who took money through the bond scam in the recent past have forcefully entered the Sirasa TV channel and Maubima newspaper and attempted to assault them. This is very unfortunate and I ask that we intervene immediately to put a stop to this Honourable Chairman.
The Prime Minister, the leader of the UNP, made a statement that there is black media in our country. The JVP's Bimal Ratnayaka made an extremely similar statement regarding black media. Now there is a demonstration that has been organized and we can see the names of these people. Activists of the JVP are involved in these protests. A group of people who are involved in the NGOs friendly to the UNP are also part of these protests. If they were to go before the Batal under torture room and carry out the demonstration, it would be respectful to their children who were killed there. NGOs and certain prominent characters in our society who received money from the bond scam are wearing black and black masks and are protesting in front of media institutions. You leveled a serious insult against artists in our country by calling them prostitutes. As a responsible MP, you must not make such a statement.
As far as we know, several prominent artists in our country and others did not go there to break into these media organizations and harass them. Just as the Prime Minister made a statement about black media, so did the JVP. What we need is for the media to be civilized in a manner that is appropriate for our country. I wish to say at this instance that as a member of the ruling party, I categorically reject and condemn the behavior of a certain group which went to several media organizations. Who are these NGO gangs? They are people who are being sustained through certain institutions in your government. People who are living off the ill-gotten gains of the bond scam. It is these people who live off the dollars and pounds of Western embassies that surrounded these media institutions and demanded that they report in line with what they think is right. Since these NGO gangs that are loyal to you, we feel that they have gone to these media organizations on your directive. We wish to remind you that while you rant about black media, the black mark is on you. We say to these NGO gangs, if you have no other means of making a living, then it is far more respectable to lay out some paper and beg on the streets than wag your tail, run and bark for dollars and pounds like a pack of dogs breaking into media organizations. A group clad in black and wearing black masks with only their eyes being visible have made some sort of threat. We are against that. This is not what should happen. We may not be in favor of some of the statements made through the media. We need to be prepared to face up to it, or we should not engage in politics.
For us?
Well, it's almost laughable, the actions of the member in the Speaker's seat, who once again is showing how partisan that position has become in the recent parliamentary months. But more importantly, or as importantly, is the actions of what I call a failed leader. 40 years in Parliament, 24 years as the leader of the United National Party, and serving currently the 5th time as the Prime Minister of this country. And let's not forget the most important numerical number, a minimum of 25 electoral defeats in a variety of electoral platforms. That's the record of Ranil Wickremesinghe. And today we can see what Ranil Wickremesinghe and the bond money, yes, the bond money is doing to democracy on this beautiful island. That's the plan, to use the bond money to intimidate the media and to basically to cause chaos.
For us, we cannot forget the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. On several, several occasions, the current Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe brought in common candidates, and through the power of the common candidate receiving the mandate of the people, came into office through positions like the opposition leader and now the Prime Minister. Thereafter, the most recent common candidate incident was President Dudley Sirisena's election into office, and thereafter a 19th Amendment was brought forward to curtail the powers of the executive president while Ranil Wickremesinghe was the Prime Minister of the country.
And let's not forget that during the course of the 19th Amendment, none other than the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe tried his best to try and curtail the media through various issues contained in the 19th Amendment. And it was down to the Capital Maharaja Group and Team Newsfirst to challenge that and fight it and get it out of the way once and for all. Otherwise, there would have been legal intimidation of the media.
For us, the UNP supporters, we are not attacking the UNP supporters or saying this to dishearten the UNP supporters.
We have a lot of sympathy for the UNP faithful at large.
But they are aware of what is happening in the country. Every time when there is a leader in the party who cannot contest, go before the public and ask for the people's mandate, they resort to mechanisms like this. You mentioned about the bond scam, the money that was scammed from the people through the bond scam.
Yeah.
Are they going into these various NGOs? Is this what they are resorting to change constitutions the way they want, to pay off NGOs to do the whims and fancies of certain individuals and then remain in power? Is that what is happening here? Is that what we are seeing through these people coming and protesting before media institutions, calling these media institutions for revealing the truth to the people, for revealing corruption, revealing thievery, black media institutions?
It's absolutely disgraceful how these people who are so-called Democrats, but we have to refer to them as pseudo-Democrats, who use their stooges and their lackeys to remain in power by manipulating the party constitution, attempting to manipulate the country's constitution, and on top of all that, the people of this country are absolutely frustrated because there is a legal mechanism in place which we have got to respect, which is that for 4.5 years we can't really have an election and get rid of this corrupt lot.
For us, as soon as this incident was being reported on our media network, several politicians contacted us over the telephone. This is what they had to say. We'll bring it for your attention.
They accused us of oppressing the media. Now we can clearly see where the oppression is coming from. We must condemn this. We cannot allow it. These people have gone not only to Sirasa but to several other organizations too. They must keep in mind that the media cannot be stopped through government power. There have been instances overseas where the media has continued in spite of journalists being murdered. We must rise against this oppression of the media. It is very clear where this is being organized, and it is there that this stems from. It was Ranil Wickremesinghe that first used the phrase black media. Shortly afterwards, Bimal started using it. They need to act more democratically or democracy will be ruined in this country and there will be no space for independent thoughts and ideas. This is completely wrong. Everyone has their gripe with the media. When we were in government, we said Sirasa was backing the UNP. Now that the UNP is in power, they are accusing this media organization of helping the opposition. All of us politicians have become used to labeling the media. But this goes beyond using labels and organizing people to go there and suppress the media. We must all work to safeguard the freedom of expression.
As a politician, public representatives and public servants who value democracy and media freedom, not only do I condemn the actions by a certain group today to threaten and harass the Sirasa network and to attack media freedom, I also wish to note that such actions are extremely disgraceful and distasteful. We came into power on the mandate to uphold the purest ideals of providing freedom to the media. We should use our power in government to confirm the media's freedom to communicate true and factual information to the public. We condemn this act of threat and intimidation. We must safeguard the mandate we received from the people to uphold media freedom, and as a government, we are committed to uphold the people's right to know and to further strengthen media freedom.
ජනමාධ්‍ය ශේෂ්ත්‍රයට ඇලුම් කරන ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී දේශපාලකයෙක් හැටියට මාධ්‍ය ආයතන ඉදිරිපිට පැවැත්වූ උද්ඝෝෂණවලට
The JVP was not involved in these demonstrations held outside media organizations. That is false news. There was no demonstration that was carried out by the JVP today. As a party, when media organizations were being bombed, when journalists were being attacked and killed, and even when attempts were made to use legislation to silence the media, our party has acted to defeat such actions. As such, there is no involvement whatsoever of the JVP in these black-attired demonstrations opposite media organizations. That is false news.
We have seen that Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's government, who trumpeted about media freedom, media ethics and good governance, have been attacking the media in Parliament when the media reported on matters exposing them. Media organizations who stood straight and reported facts were labelled black media by Ranil Wickremesinghe. Siresa was attacked under the previous government, and now Ranil Wickremesinghe's government, who spoke against it, are acting to intimidate, silence and use underworld figures to threaten Siresa. This is not the first instance that Ranil Wickremesinghe's government has threatened Siresa. I remember that several months ago too, they attempted to intimidate Siresa. We salute Siresa for standing straight and reporting the truth.
This is a system where the law is in ruins. It was an attack on democracy. I condemn this totally. I have been directly responsible for such actions in the past. I was involved in an incident with Siresa which I am disappointed about, but I have apologized and we have settled that matter. They tried to bomb Siresa and close it down, but they could not do it. This was during the time of the government that I was a part of, not another government, and I am truly saddened by that. If today's incident was the action of a hired group, then that is a major mistake. They were covering their faces. What is this? A new style? I condemn this completely. The Inspector General of Police should commence an investigation regarding this and find out their aim. To go public wearing black straps and threatening them. We need to find out what this is. Usually we have given the freedom to media to act independently. Therefore, Facebook heroes and WhatsApp heroes also have been given that. Nowadays, how many posts are shared which are defamatory? In such a situation, is this the media freedom? So that before they go in front of media stations again, they should be stopped by the police.
I got surprised seeing these people. Who are they? I have been in the film industry for 40 years. I have won the Best Actress award for 7 times. I have become the most popular actress. During our era, teledrama actresses that we don't even know have come and talked about media independence. What is media freedom? Who went against media freedom? Who attacked the media? Ask them to find out the truth. These people have come here because they support these people. I think these people will come back again crying. They were probably not even conceived in their mother's womb when we were in the film industry. Who are these people who say that they are popular actresses?
We as artists, as the Free Artists Alliance, we strongly state that media institutions should be allowed to operate freely. I must ask as to if these artists were wearing clothes while they were doing these things. When I saw what they did in front of Siresa, I was saddened, ashamed and uncomfortable.
The superimposed lettering on Parliamentarian Vijitha Herath mentioned that he was the governor of the Western Province. We apologize for that mistake. He is JVP Parliamentarian Vijitha Herath expressing the views when the incident transpired. Thereafter, once again for us, the JVP made several comments to us. This is what they had to say.
Today we have proposed that a debate be held in January regarding this black media, and we must name them. These mass media institutions, there is a circle of black media in the country.
The
Janata Vimukti Peramana is not a part of this protest against media.
Well, Chaturanga, it's absolutely clear from what we've seen as to who is behind this disgraceful show of impropriety by members, essentially, of the public against media institutions who have dedicated their coverage to reporting facts that matter to the people. There are several. The list is long and endless. And it's absolutely clear. And, you know, today we talk about the Prime Minister is the one who christened the term black media. But perhaps the Prime Minister has forgotten that back in 1983, to the lasting shame of this country's history, in 1983, the Capital Maharaja Group's businesses were burnt to the ground. They were rebuilt, and today we're bigger and better than we've ever been. They tried it again 10 years ago. And once again, we came out of that too, because of the dedication, the commitment this group has to reporting the facts to the people. And 10 years ago, the Prime Minister, who's today the 5th time round the Prime Minister, at that time in the opposition, 10 years ago, he said that it would be impossible to douse the flame, the Siresa flame. And how true he is, because come what may, the Siresa group, the Maharaja group, we're here forever and a day, and we're not going to let these failed political leaders get away with it, because they've got to stop robbing the country. They've got to stop being so corrupt. They've got to start delivering on the people's wishes. That's what they've got to do. And they cannot use the people who are sadly misled, some of them, into attacks on the media, instigating all sorts of movements. Do they think that the people don't know? And I think, Tatranga, that what we really need to say is, when it comes to the media, don't touch, don't regret.
Well-known businessman Dudley Sirisena expressed the following views during an event held in Colombo recently.
Mama, meet මාස 7කට ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඉන්දුනීසියාවට ගියපු වෙලාවේ ඉන්දුනීසියාවේ තානාපතිතුමා හම්බ වුණාම එතුමා මාව එක්කරන් ගිහලා වාඩි කරලා තේගක් එහෙම දෙලා ලොකු පොතක් පෙරලලා ලංකාවේ ඒ රටේ ආයෝජනය කරන්න ගියපු ව්‍යාපාරිකයෝ 5 දෙනෙක් මම කිව්වොත් ඔයාලා දන්න අය ඩොලර් මිලියන 673ක් අපේ රටේ මුළු රටේම ආර්ථිකයේ ඩොලර් එක ඉහළ යන එක බේර ගන්නත් මිලියන 500ක් තමයි දාන්න පුළුවන් උනේ. මේ ව්‍යාපාරිකයෝ 5 දෙනෙක් ඉන්දුනීසියාවේ පමණක්. මම තාවක් කියමින් කියන්නේ. එතකොට ඇයි මේ මිනිස්සු එහාට ගියේ? මොනවාරි ප්‍රතිලාභයක් දීලා රටේ ආයෝජනය මේ අපිට ඩොලර් නැත්තේ ඒකයි. එයාලා ඩොලර් මිලියන 673න් නවතීද? තව කොච්චරක් එහාට අදීද? අපි තව මාස ගානකින් පැවැත්වෙන මතවරණයකින් පස්සේ විශේෂයෙන්ම ජනාධිපති මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මැතිතුමාගේ යටතේ අපි කරන වැඩපිළිවෙල ඉදිරියේ වෙනත් එකක් රජයට සම්බන්ධ නැති සංවිධානයක් පිහිටවලා මේ රටේ යහපත් දේශපාලන ඒ මතවාද වැඩපිළිවෙල ක්‍රමවත් රටට වැඩදායි වෙන විදිහට සැලසුම් කරන වැඩපිළිවෙලකට අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම අවතීර්ණ වෙනවාමයි. විදේශ ආයෝජකයෝ මෙහාට එන්න බැරි ප්‍රශ්නත් තියෙනවා. දැන් මේ ඊයේ පෙරේද ආපු මිනිස්සු ටිකක් යන්න ගියා විතරනේ ආ ජීවිතේට එන්නෙත් නැහැ. මොකද දැන් අවුරුදු ගාණක් තිස්සේ 10%, 15%, 20%, 50% ඉල්ලපුණුත් ඉන්නවා උන්ගේ ආයෝජනේ. ඕන ව්‍යාපාරික හරියට සුද්ධ කරලා ගත්තාම 2%, 3% තමයි ලාභ තියෙන්නේ. ඒ මිනිහා මෙතෙන්ට එද්දිම උගේ ඇඟට පැනලා වැඩේ කරන්නත් ඉස්සෙල්ලා උගේ 10%ක් අරගෙන උගේ රෙද්දක් ජලවලා අතේ තියෙන මුද්දක් ජලවගෙන අන්න ඒ වාගේ ජරා වැඩපිළිවෙලක් තමයි මේ රට තුළ වෙන්නේ. ඒක නිසා මෙවට විරුද්ධව අපි වැඩපිළිවෙලක් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවාමයි මේ 2019 ඉඳලා.
ඒ දවස්වල සාකච්ඡාවක් තියෙනවා මුතුමා දේශපාලන වෙන්න අදහසක් තියෙනවා කියලා.
දේශපාලනයට එන්න නම් අදහස් ගන්න දේශපාලනයෝ හදන්න නම් අදහසක් තියෙනවා. හදනවම තමයි. මහජන මුදල කණුන්ගේ ගෙවල් වලට ගිහලා කණෙන් ඇදගෙන ඉන්න තමයි මේ කල්පනා කර ඉන්නේ. ඒ තරම් මේ රටට විනාශයක් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියනවා 2002 ඉඳලා මේ දක්වා මහ බැංකුවේ අර තැන්පතු වලින් ඔය අලෝසියස්ලා අරගෙනලා කරපු ක්‍රමවේදයෙන් බිලියන 10යිලු මේ පාඩුව ඒ ගැන අකටයුතු විදියට ගත්ත හරිය. අර 2 බිලියන නෙවෙයි බිලියන 1000. හරි? බිලියන 1000ක් කියන්නේ මම හිතන විදිහට ට්‍රිලියන එකක්. ඒක කෝටි ලක්ෂයක්. ඒතර කෝටි ලක්ෂයක් මොන් කාලා තියෙනවා. මේ රටම හදන්න පුළුවන් සල්ලි මොන් කාලා තියෙනවා ඒකෙන් විතරයි. ඇයි මේ අපේ දුප්පත්කම අපේ දුගීකම කළා අපිට මොකක් හරි ටොපියක් දීලා ඡන්ද කාලයක දැන් ගන්න හිටන්ද බඩු වෙලා අඩු කරයි ඒ වගේ වගලා අපේ උණු කාලා මේ කායි උන්ටම දෙනවා. දෙනොන්ට ජාන්න ඕනේ. ඉතාලම මෙවර මැතිවරණයේදී මම පෞද්ගලිකව මගේ අයියාට විරුද්ධ වුණා කවුරු විරුද්ධ වුණා ඡන්දදාගින්ගේ මම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා ඉතාමත් කල්පනාකාරී වැදගත් ඔළුව තියෙන විශ්වාස කළ හැකි මිනිසුන්ට ඡන්ද දෙන්න.
A debate took place today following a special statement made by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe about the economy of the country.
The total debt repayment due for the year 2019, including interest, has been calculated to $5,900 million US. This is not the debt that we obtained. On the 14th of January, we have to service a debt of $2,600 million US, the highest amount in Sri Lanka's history. The economy, which was gradually stabilizing, was greatly affected by the 51 days of political instability. Several countries have come forward to assist us. The Reserve Bank of India has agreed to provide $400 million US to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. We are also hoping to obtain $500 million US through China's Panda bonds and Japan's Samurai bonds. We are also hoping to obtain $1 billion US, that is 1,000 million US dollars, from the International Monetary Fund. Our finance minister will visit Washington next week to discuss these issues. We will have to face several difficulties there. I'd like to say clearly that we will present a people-oriented budget despite the difficulties and hardships we have to face.
ජනතා හිතවාදී අයවැයක් මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරන බවත් මෙහිදී විශේෂයෙන් සඳහන් කරන්නට කැමතියි. මම කැමතියි තමුන්නාසගෙන් අහන්න අපිට
I'd like to ask you if we can have one full day to debate on this. The country was destroyed and ruined. The rupee was going to rise to 200 rupees against the dollar. Why can't you hold a debate?
එහෙනම් විවාදයක් දෙන්න. මොකද විවාදයක් දෙන්න බැරි. මේ අවුරුද්දේ මුල් භාගයේදී මුළු
During the first half of the year, we saw how currencies depreciated against the US dollar. We debated about it here. But in November, the value of the currencies of the other countries increased, except for Sri Lanka. To pay for the month of January, we now have to go to India to get a software. We have to ask for money from other places. They have caused this situation and are now doing nothing about it. A debate should be held about the 51 days of political turmoil and not about anything else.
වෙලෙකක් ගැන නෙවෙයි. මම ගරු අගමැතිතුමාගෙන් දැනගන්න කැමතියි අපිට ලැබිලා තිබෙන ආරංචි.
We would like to ask the Honourable Prime Minister if you have agreed to sell the China Bay port, the Mattala airport, the Kanka Santurai port and the Colombo East terminal in return for the $400 million granted by the Reserve Bank of India. Have you agreed to this or not?
I don't know, Deputy Speaker. You don't agree for anything in return for a swap. This comes under the SARC currency swap. It doesn't mention there that these things have to be given on lease. China Bay is ours. We have shares in the Hambantota Port Company. The Colombo Harbour is ours.
වරාය අපි එක්ක හම්බන්තොට වරාය සමාගමට තියෙන අපෙත් කොටස් තියෙනවා. මේ වරාය කොළඹ වරාය අපි එක්ක.
The Prime Minister announced recently that the government will be entering into a $400 million swap agreement with the Indian government in order to repay international debt. This is approximately 72 billion Sri Lankan rupees. While the Sri Lankan economy has been forced to a corner and made dependent on the charity of foreign governments to stay afloat and repay her loans, it is interesting to put this 72 billion rupee swap into context. The total loss from the Sri Lankan Airlines scandal alone over the past 3 years amounts to over 57 billion rupees. That's 2/3 the funds required. The Central Highway loan, which was borrowed at commercial rates, works out to a mammoth 450 billion rupees, over 6 times the value of the loan repayment. This is not even taking into consideration what is perhaps Sri Lanka's worst financial crime, the bond scam, with its immediate loss of 11 billion rupees and the almost incalculable long-term loss running into tens of billions of rupees. Despite the media highlighting these incidents and a massive public outcry, financial mismanagement, incompetence and rampant corruption have resulted in what is today an untenable situation where Sri Lanka is forced to rely on foreign nations to repay her loans. The 72 billion rupee question is, where would Sri Lanka's economy be today if it was managed by those whose interest was the progress of the nation and not political survival?
වසරේ දක්ෂතම ක්‍රීඩකයා මැතිව් අබේසිංහ.
Are you the most talented sportsman of 2018?
Sports First Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
Well, now the government has decided to reduce the price of fuel from midnight to night. Issuing a release, the Finance Ministry says petrol and diesel prices by 2 rupees per litre each. However, the price of super diesel has been reduced by 3 rupees per litre. With that, we wrap this edition of Prime Time News. Thank you very much for stopping by. Have yourself a great evening ahead. Take care. Good night.